All right, so we are on one of our properties today. As you can see, we got corn growing in the background. On the far side of this huge field is soon to be peanuts. We've already posted a video from the other side of the field where we were going in and doing some heavy baiting. And it did work, and it didn't work. We were trying to get two groups to join together. The two groups did not join together. We started getting really close to planting. Our farmer was, so we're like, crap, we got to do something. So, situation worked out one evening, boom, flipped the switch. Went in with thermal, blah, 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 all that stuff. Nothing outside the gate ever. But what we took was 11. At one time, our highest number when we got them to join was 18. Now, we have to take into consideration a lot of thermal works being done on other properties. People, hogs are getting shot at. So we may be losing numbers. Since the drop, we've had one hog go into the trap, which was actually last night. We got a bunch of bad weather in, so the field hasn't been planted yet. We're looking at maybe the planting's going to happen on maybe Friday because it's just too wet. Today's Tuesday. Now, these are tactics that we've used on another operation a year ago. We lost 14 acres of planted corn, newly planted corn, seed in the ground. Our farmer replanted different property. We went in and sat on that field every night. And then we got up. Sounds like we got up, but we did. We sat there, so we got up. We walked this swamp out with waders. We posted this. We weren't doing videos back then. We walked this swamp out and literally kind of pushed these hogs towards two Jaeger Pro traps that are semi-permanent traps at the bottom end of this swamp. And then we'd get out, come back, go home, go to bed. For 21 days, that was the system that we were running. Sit on the field all night, push the swamp. Now, in the course of that, I think the number was 37. At the end of 21 days, we ended up taking out 37 hogs. We only took out one in the field at night with a thermal. Good old-fashioned sneaking through the swamp, hip waders, running an AR-15. Some of you may wonder, what's the best weapon? We were running either an AR-15 or we were running 12-gauge double-aught buck. I don't recall the exact number. We only shot about 4 or 5 walking that swamp out, but then we would bust out into the field, go back to the truck, and work them towards those two traps. Eventually, we got them to go into one of the traps. We didn't push them too hard. They went in the trap. They started eating corn out of the trap. We flipped the switch, and I think total it was like 37 hogs in that 21-day span. So what we're going to do today is we're going to buzz down the edge of this field. We're going to pick up a strip of woods, which I'm fixing to show you, and we're going to walk it out real slow. The wind direction's good. We are going tactical. We are wanting to engage hogs. This is very proactive and very aggressive, in my opinion. And we're going to reach a point, and then we're going to get out of the woods because we're pushing them back up towards the trap. That's there, they're comfortable with it, but with all the rain, they're rooting and having a big time. So if we see hogs, we will engage them. But at some point, we will get out of the field and we'll come back. Very time-consuming process here, but when our farmer puts that seed in the ground, our trapping operation is shut down. It's pretty much done. And then we're going to be in a watch and wait on the field. And I'm good at watching and waiting on a trap, but I'm not real good at watching and waiting, if I can talk, watching and waiting on a field. I would rather take the fight to them. So, haven't made the choice yet of weapon of choice today. It's either going to probably be an AR-15 or 12-gauge double-aught buck. Not really trying to be stealthy and quiet, don't care. We're trying to push, and if we engage a couple, that's a win. Hard choice. Got a lot of swamp guns because this is a swamp where we're going. Back in the day, 45-70, 44, 35 Remington. I got a lot of swamp guns for shooting hogs back in the day, but probably most likely we're just going to go with 12-gauge double-aught buck. So, going to give you a little footage and that's the video. So hold on, let's take a look. We're gonna start way down there at the end of this cornfield where the wood line's at, and we're gonna work our way that way, okay? The trap, believe it or not, is way up that way. So it's gonna take us several hours to walk it out. And again, we're gonna go so far, then we're just gonna pull out of the woods and hump it back here to the truck. So hopefully that'll kind of give you an idea. We'll try to do some footage. As a business, I can tell you that this is labor intensive, a lot of man hours, and there's no profit. There just really isn't at this point. But this makes up for the months that nothing happens on this property, in my opinion, and we're just monitoring the systems, doing our maintenance. This makes up for that. That we got to hit it with everything we got right now, and it's been a good experience for our landowner, who's never really been in this situation where we know we've got hogs on the property. At least we did. And what do we do? Because he's got a plan. It is what it is. And so what do? We take the fight to him. This is why you got to stay in shape, stay on your game, know your land. We've got Onyx Hunt working for us. I mean, we use their app, let's put it that way. And we just kind of plot this out, and we know this strip of woods. So hang on, and here we go. So what we're doing now is basically going around the cornfield. Part of the problem with irrigated fields, especially once this corn starts making a head, you're never going to get the hogs out of it. They've got cover, they've got food, they've got water. This is what we're looking for. Very fresh, very, very, very fresh rooting. So it's a big field. So the group, two different groups were using the trap. Some have migrated down this way, and they're just down here having a big time because we had all this rain and they're rooting. Well, we're running out of time. So all we're trying to do is just bump them back up through the woods and go, hey, let's go back to your food source. But clearly they were in here, last night, early this morning. The pivots are running for the corn. Corn's nowhere near making ears, but we got a short window to trap these hogs, a couple of days right now, right before the peanuts get planted. And then once the peanuts come up, then there's that window between that and when the corn starts making some ears that we can get this little group. We know that probably it's about 7. That's what it was. And so we're going to keep working our way around the corn, and then we're going to drop it off down in the woods. We're on the 4-wheeler right now. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of the strategy. So in a situation like this, a lot of bending over, crawling through this thick crap. We're skirting the edge of the cornfield. We're not sponsored by Onyx Hunt, using the app just to kind of help keep your bearings. Cornfield straight in front of us. And then all this drainage that's coming off of this pivot, the irrigation, it's a great place for these hogs to lay up. A little warm day like this in South Georgia, and just basically working around. Hey, if we see something, great. If we don't, we're pushing everything towards that trap. Sorry, big ass mosquito. Fortunately for us, we've got a road grader working on a county road over here. It's making a good cover noise for us. And this is the deal. So hang on. So as you can see, these little drainage ditches, hogs just love this. But anyway, good place for them to lay up, probably where they're at. And we'll keep pushing that way. All right, so we're down here in the woods now, kind of where we can actually stand up and walk. Where we came from was straight up that way. You can see they've been down in here. And so one thing I want to point out is that we dropped the gate, took out 11 hogs. Actually, that night, later on, 3 hogs came in and fed, but then they left. A lot of people will argue this point. We don't think it's the blood. We don't think it's the poop, the feces, whatever. It's the human scent. We've got one property this year already that we've trapped over 70 hogs out of the same trap. Multiple groups, singles, triples, doubles, 36. It's the human scent. That's what freaks them out, in our opinion. So what we're basically trying to do is now that scent is gone out of the trap because we've had so much rain. They're down in here because they just get distracted and they see a pretty bird and whatever, next thing you know. And so you can see right here, I'm basically just following the routing that direction towards the trap. At some point I will stop and get back out. Now it's not impossible that the hogs are actually laid up in the corn. Good cover, good water, and it's got fresh junk for them to root in. The mosquitoes are clearly needing aircraft carriers. But yeah, so just kind of working our way that way. The wind is good, so if we sneak up on some, we'll engage. Boy, that's a lot of blood. And if we don't sneak up on some, most likely we pushed them. Now it's possible we could have went right by, and I've seen hogs do that, like deer. They'll just bed down and let you go right by them. You almost got to step on them sometimes. So I got to keep moving before I'm donating too much blood down here. Man, I couldn't pass this up. So this is what we talk about. Rain changes everything for the hog because it opens the earth up, and then they get to root, which is what they love to do. So check that out. Hopefully the video does it justice. But this is a bunch of swamp water and junk that just gathered up, made a big pile, and they just got in there and they went to town. It could be a couple hogs or a whole bunch of hogs. All the way through here, mosquito. That's the way it is. And so when we have hogs come into a trap, consistently coming in, everything's fine, and it rains, we see like, oh, whoa, they get distracted because they like to root. And we know that by them eating peanut seeds and eating corn seeds. So we got to get back to it. All right, we're getting back in some thick woods. Field's right up there. We're running this strip up to the trap. Everything looks like this. That's all that wet earth for them to root in. They got a trap they've been in. It's full of corn. Right now they're just way, way down here. Wind did a shift on us. Not in our favor, so we're gonna keep on trucking. When you're walking woods out like this, you know, you spend a lot of time hunched over. You gotta really get down and then just do a really good scan. I mean, it's thick, but these spots like this, you've got so much foliage down low, and you'll have a tree, usually from one of the hurricanes, will fall over, and it makes this dark hole, and that's where they like to lay up. They'll lay up in there because it's cool. Ain't nobody in their right damn mind gonna go in there, and it's just a good spot for them to be. So we're still pushing forward. Pretty soon here we're gonna have to get out. Because we don't want to push them because there's not a whole lot of woods on the other side of the trap. We'll run them completely out of here, which is what we don't want. We just want to bump them. Mosquitoes, hang on. Now it's hard to believe, but it's literally daylight. You can see daylight over there, but look how dark it is down in here. And then look at the rooting. They get up underneath here. No sun can get to it. Nice wet ground. And they just go to town. So this is a good spot for them to lay up. So the field is that way, trap is that way, and we're just gonna keep pushing. But yeah, he's special. Hey fella, can you say hi to the people in TV land? Oh, holy cow. All right, so we're at our point that we need to go ahead and get out of the woods. Wind is really, it's working for us. It's blowing our scent that direction towards the trap. Our landowners up there on the top of the hill doing some prep work, getting ready to plant. So anyway, no pressure. But yeah, so this whole field here will be peanuts. And where we came from when we started the video is way back that direction. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skirt. I don't wanna go anywhere that direction. That's where the trap's at. I'm gonna skirt along this edge of this field and just look for any type of hog sign, seeing where they're making trails coming in and out. So all that's peanuts, all this is peanuts, way peanuts over there. And again, we're not sponsored and endorsed by Onyx Hunt, but it really helps us to pull that app up, look at it. We got pretty decent cell service here. And we kind of know, like, okay, we don't need to go any further. You know, there's property line here, you know, whatever. Very helpful. We know the property, and we have to learn our customers' property. We have to know these little nooks and crannies and creeks and drainage ditches. It's the only way we're going to do it. So we'll probably give you a little bit more footage, but we're going to go ahead and head on out. A lot of rooting in there. I mean, they're just having a field day. Again, don't get ate up with the rooting. I mean, it could be 4 hogs. It could be 20 hogs. You never know. Because they got nothing better to do than to shove their head down in the ground and make a mess. You and I got better things to do all day. So hang on. All right, there he is. He's running a red machine. His John Deere caught on fire, so we're not going to hold that against him for running a red machine. But anyway, yeah. So normally that's where we park, way up there by those pines, and then take a four-wheeler down to the trap. But a little bit different today. All right, we are back here at the truck. I'm buzzed up here in the four-wheeler. Didn't see much hog sign anywhere except where we originally got off the four-wheeler. Saw some hog sign there in the field. Everywhere else in the field, it was clean. So that tells us for the most part they're staying in the woods, or they like this corner way, way, way up here, which is like as far away from the trap as you can get. A couple things. As a business, if you're to call us up and say, hey, I've got hogs in my field, you know, would you come shoot them? Meaning doing thermal work. The answer is no. In our opinion, that is a, you know, temporary solution to a permanent problem. If we work for you 365 and we're in a contract with you, then in a situation like this where we're running out of time, right? We can't get this second group before he's got a plant. Then we will come in and sit on the field and do thermal work. If we have a breach, meaning the property's clean, but somebody pushes hogs on us, whether it be dog guys or thermal guys shooting at them, or just a pure simple migration for food, hogs come onto a property that we're keeping clean, we'll sit on the field. Do not enjoy sitting on a field at all, doing thermal work. Just it's not something that myself, even the boys, are not really interested. It's not. The only thing I like about it is being out there in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night, nobody bothering you, and enjoying the stars. The rest of it, it really don't do a whole lot for me. Putting hogs inside a trap don't do a whole lot for me, except calling that landowner up and saying, hey, you know, we got them, you know, that satisfaction of that. Now, what we just did, an aggressive push, a very proactive measure, yeah, I enjoy that. Because honestly, on our farm, 20 some odd years ago, that's how we got rid of hogs for the most part. I would work the wind and walk the swamp, work the wind and walk the swamp and take them out that way. We did square trap, trigger trap. If we had a Jager Pro, not a promotional speech for Jager Pro, but if we'd had a Jager Pro 20 some odd years ago, it'd have been a totally different story. But, you know, Jager Pro wasn't around then. We didn't get our first Jager Pro until 2016. And we didn't, by that time we'd got the hogs off the property because I kind of figured out how to stay on it to keep them off the farm and knock on some wood somewhere. We haven't had any since, thank God. But that's where we kind of stand with that. So in this situation, if we can't drop on what we can take before he plants, then we're going to have to go to plan B, which is, you know, do the thermal stuff. What I'm going to ask the landowner to do in this particular situation here is this evening, close to dark, get on his side-by-side and buzz around this cornfield. And that'll keep them off the edge of that corn. What they're doing is they're getting nut grass that's along this corn. They're also getting last year's peanuts. And when you walk through there, you can just see peanuts that were on top of the ground. The rain's pushed them down. They're getting old peanuts and they're getting nut grass. If he buzzes around a couple times on that side-by-side, that's not something he normally does. That'll keep them in the woods, and hopefully they'll migrate up to that food source that they were familiar with, but now they've migrated down here. So hopefully this video kind of gives you guys some insight. Couple things, just as a father, when you're doing anything like that, where you're down in the woods, you're on your hands and knees, you know, one, I forgot my Camelback, so clearly that's stay hydrated. But you want a really slim Camelback. You want something tight to your back because it's going to get hung up in the vines and all that junk. The other thing is you know, muzzle awareness, making sure your muzzle doesn't go down into the deck or the mud. You know, make sure that your muzzle's clean. And then two, safety. Vines will get on that safety. I don't care what kind of weapon it is, pistol, rifle, shotgun, whatever. Keep checking that safety to make sure that that safety is on. That was ingrained to me from the Marine Corps, my old job, from my dad, and it's ingrained in my boys. And I mean, the whole time I was on my hands and knees crawling through that junk. I mean, I'm working, you know, I'm just checking that safety. So easy when you're in thick stuff for things to go wrong. And that's my dad's speech for today. So hopefully the video helps, and cross your fingers. You know, we're hoping this works out. We don't have to go sit on this field. I don't think it's a bunch of hogs, but it's hogs. And once he drops them peanuts in, they're just going to roto-rooter them right up, and there you go. And if you're in TV land and you don't understand crop insurance, it really doesn't do a whole lot for these farmers. It really doesn't, if you read the fine print. And so it's a hit on their profit margin. It's a hit on everything that they do. So give us feedback, and we appreciate the support. Y'all have a good day.